I don't know what drove me to play the State of Decay 2, but hell, I'm glad that I did. I vividly remember playing the first game on my potato of a computer back in college. Second game follows almost the same structure but with new stuff added on top of it. So it was quite easy for me to get back into it. State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival sim where your survivors are everything you have. You need to recruit, level them up, and most importantly, keep them alive. Because death is permanent. Actually, no, scratch that. They come back up as zombies. To survive in these harsh conditions, you need a roof above your head. You need food, shelter, ammunition, medicine, and resources to expand. To do that, you have to choose your survivor and venture out. Your survivors have different types of skills, which makes it critical to choose the one that fits your current goal. After you choose your survivor, the rest is entirely up to you. You can walk or drive around, which you are going to drive mostly by the way, find the places of interest, loot the shit out of them, make some noise while looting, immediately regret your decision, overrun by a bunch of zombies, run to your car in panic, and try to drive away but zombies are everywhere, and eventually they destroy your car, and now you're on foot running away from hordes of zombies with no ammo, no health kit, no nothing. You're alone and desperate and far away from home. You try to find somewhere safe to spend the night. Maybe you find some ammo, but no chance. Your wounds start to itch. You feel numb as you try to find somewhere safe to lay down. Just for a moment. The stars, they are beautiful tonight. Just like this one, your survivors will have their own stories, their own sagas. Their stats and personalities will affect the dynamics in your camp. Sometimes they will fight with one another, and sometimes they want things to be resolved. To do that, you can either speak with them or take control of them to complete the objective. Their traits also play an important role, as some buildings are locked behind certain traits. So when you're about to recruit someone, first take a look at their stats and make sure that they are the right fit. Of course, like any group that fights against hordes of zombies, yours needs a leader as well. Choosing a leader is extremely important, as your leader's trait will unlock certain buildings and objectives. Your shelter is the second most important thing in the game. At the beginning, you start with a simple house. You need to gather resources, build additional buildings, capture outposts, and increase your influence to unlock new features. Some buildings can increase morale or boost your stats, but beware because you only have a limited number of slots to build. There are also several mods you can find throughout your adventures that can enhance the stats of these buildings or provide different bonuses. If you need more space, you need to clear the biggest house sites, have enough people and influence to capture it. There are 5 main resources in the game: ammo, food, medicine, fuel, and building materials. Other than that, there are also scraps, chemical supplies, and some parts you can find around. Like I said earlier, you need to go out for supply runs to gather enough resources to keep the camp going. You can also use your radio to pin down a specific need. Driving is the most important mechanic in the game. You need to fill your car's trunk with all the loot and rucksacks and carry them back. You also need to have a steady supply of gas and should craft a bunch of repair kits because running over zombies will eventually destroy your car. You can also go on foot, but that's boring, don't do that. I specifically love the driving in the game because you get to do this.
Okay, but where is this story going? Like, what's the main objective?
I'm glad you asked, whoever you are. This is where the game kind of falls apart. You have one main objective, and that is to destroy these nasty plague hearts. These things basically jack up all the zombies around, making them carry the plague, which is a deadly disease that could end your camp if it's not cured properly. After destroying every single one of them, the game basically tells you to do whatever your leader wishes to do. Okay. After some digging around, I found out that the game wants me to play more. Like, isn't that the main purpose of any game ever? You can also do different things to increase your influence. Your neighbors will regularly ask for your help. It could be a simple request, such as some spare resources, or they might need you to rescue their friends. If you help them, they will reward you with some loot, and if you don't, they will eventually hate your guts and become hostile. Trade is also very important. If you keep your neighbors happy, they can decrease the prices of items you can trade. You can also sell the extra loot for more influence. Also, just to spice things up, the game throws some curveballs at you from time to time. These curveballs are game-altering events. They sometimes buff zombies' senses, increase their numbers, give you a higher chance to find something specific, etc.
Okay, but you haven't even mentioned how combat is. Like, how do we fight in this game?
Okay, first of all, just shut the fuck up. And secondly, yes, let's talk about that now. The combat system in this game is extremely satisfying. Your attacks can cut zombies' limbs, incapacitate them, or chop their heads off. It's all up to the weapon you choose and the survivor you have. Survivor with higher melee skills can perform special attacks that are extremely useful in certain situations. Guns are also amazing, and it's surprisingly easy to headshot the zombies, and somehow it still feels rewarding. I think they managed to create a great balance between guns and melee weapons.
Okay, but...
Okay, but what? That's the whole game! What the fuck do you want more from me?
I was gonna ask about these other options in the main menu. Looks like there is more to it than the sandbox that you just described.
Fuck! Yeah, so that was the sandbox mode, or campaign. There are also other options. First one is Heartland, which has a more linear story, like a main game. Your survivors and events that follow up are all predestined, and you basically try to complete your objectives to win the game. We can easily describe this as the story mode of the game. Daybreak is the online part. You can team up with 3 different players and fight against the unending horde. I honestly did not play this one that much because whenever I tried to play, it was laggy, like unplayable laggy. Are you happy now? I am done with the whole game.
All I wanted to do was, like, ask questions. Why do you hate me?
Well, because you interrupted me a lot, and am I actually having a conversation with myself right now? God, I need to go out more. Anyways, let's talk about the shitty parts. First of all, the game does not really offer much. At first, it is addictively fun because the goals you set for yourself are achievable quite fast, like gathering enough materials to construct new buildings, or accumulating enough points to move out to a new base, or capturing important outposts. Also, let's not forget about the nasty play cards. However, once you're done with all of these, what remains is kinda boring. You can either move your survivors to the legacy section, where you can use them on other campaigns, move out to new maps with everyone and start from the beginning, or end the run to gain some legacy boons that help you on your future runs. Once you end the run, unless you spike up the difficulty to the hardest, you basically do the same things again. But once you increase that difficulty, oh boy, the game bends you over and does unspeakable things to your butt. Personally, I love me some extra challenging games, so of course I gobbled that extra difficulty up immediately. And I confirmed that it turns the game into a real survival experience. But if enjoying a game requires increasing the difficulty once you are done with the game, that game is no good, my friends. For example, I have hundreds of hours on RimWorld, which is kinda similar experience except for the zombies. And even if you're done with the game, there are many things to do on your new runs, like trying out new builds, new religions, new factions, new survivors, new biomes, etc. You can also cheese your way out of almost any encounter. Unless you're overwhelmed by a horde, you can simply run behind a zombie or get away from them with a dodge, get behind them, and get a stealth kill. Once you figure that out, unless you want to waste your bullets or drain your stamina, there is really no point of fighting. Of course, you can change the maps in the game, but the gameplay is almost exactly the same. Go out, loot buildings, help your neighbors, build new stuff, loot more stuff, rinse and repeat. Basically, the game dies out pretty quick, and for that, my final verdict is a 6. However, I still recommend this game. At least try it out. I assure you that your first several hours will be extremely fun. It definitely scratches that post-apocalyptic zombie survival itch. Maybe you end up liking the ever-ending cycle of looting and shooting, who knows?